Hey everyone, Laurel here, Minnesota Zone 5A, part 2 of my garden tour. The containers still looking great. We've had some warm weather, a little bit of break in the rain, so I have been having to water every day. These are not hooked up to drip. Maybe someday I'll do that and figure out how to run it from that corner all the way across, and how to reconfigure it when I inevitably move things around a whole bunch. But for now, I hand water. This year has been kind of a luxury because we got so much rain. There was the majority of the summer I've not had to water. So anyway, that's the story of my life with the watering. So just a whole mix of stuff. I did a little bit of color blocking. This section is kind of like warm colors. This is also warm colors, but foliage only, although some things do have minor blooms, like the red Fruiturity Canna gets some red blooms. It doesn't bloom heavily though. And then of course the Coleus sends out blooms. I usually cut these back though. There was a bumblebee sleeping on that one earlier, so I did not cut it back. But otherwise, I've always wanted to do an all foliage area, so that's how this turned out. Love this lemon twist plectranthus. Really vigorous plant. Good thriller or filler layer. Trails slightly, but not a whole lot. I don't think this golden licorice vine is great in the sun. It kind of got a little bit burned all summer. That might want a little more shade. The silver licorice vine does well in the sun. I have found it doesn't get burned as bad. This is Alternanthera, not Purple Prince. I do have Purple Prince elsewhere that I start from seed. This is the Proven Winners Plum Dandy. They are indistinguishable from each other, but it is a little tricky to start from seed. So I usually don't have enough of them survive, and I end up buying the Proven Winners kind. This one looks really pretty, although you can see grasshoppers enjoy this as a snack. A little munched on the leaves here. This is Cordyline Kiwi is the variety. That did well. And then this is my favorite Coleus of all time, the Zona Sunset. I love this sort of the mix of colors here, sort of the bronze gold tones that it gets later on. Earlier in the summer it was more red orange, but you can see this deeper orange red with almost like a purple tone in the leaves. Really beautiful. And this is one plant. It does have brittle stems, so watch out if you get a lot of heavy wind storms, because I have had branches break out of these in the past. I'm surprised this year we got a huge storm that broke some things, like 65-mile-an-hour winds, and this one survived. So maybe it was just sheltered enough in here. In this corner, I have a phlox that I will be planting. Some mums, I overwinter these. I've had these for a few years now. They're annual. I just stick them on my unheated sun porch in the winter. Bring them out, cut them back in the spring. This container combination was a Proven Winners. I think it would have done better had I had more sun on the front side of it. It does get afternoon shade here. Lantana does amazing. This is these are all Proven Winners plants, and I waited until they went on clearance to do this one. This is the Basket Tangelo Lantana with one of my favorite Super Bells, Calibrachoa. This is the Over Easy. I love that white with yellow throat. And then the Goldilocks Rocks Bidens. These, I think, just didn't get enough sun here, so they're looking pretty scraggly. Same thing with the Calibrachoa. That would be a lot fuller had it gotten more sun. But anyway, got some things over here. This is a clearance, beautiful Rex begonia that I'm going to up pot and overwinter as a house plant. I like to, now this one died back so you can see, but this is kind of what I do, especially with begonias. I'll plant them in like a plastic pot and then use a ceramic pot as catch pot. And then to keep up with watering, and so that I don't overwater and rot the roots, because begonias are really susceptible to rot because they're tuberous. I can bottom water, so I wait till the soil dries out and or the begonia starts looking droopy, and then I fill a bowl with water, stick that in it, and let it soak up. And that's a lot easier for me. You can see a bumblebee enjoying this Gaillardia that I started from seed. That one is, I think, Arizona apricot. I'll be planting that in the landscape. That is hardy here. Got some clearance plants that I'm going to try to overwinter as well. A viewer gave me a tip that Meizu, which is one of my favorite annuals, that's what this is, does well as a house plant. So I'm going to give it the same treatment as the begonias. Let's see how it does. This stays on the porch, this ivy. Kind of defoliates partially, and then I put it out here and cut it back, and here we go. So you can see I had some pots. I had to protect this from the kittens because they were jumping in the soil before we got them to live on the porch. But love that. Those will wilt. Those are the first things to go, these caladium. Even more susceptible to cold temperatures than sweet potato vine. So that'll be the first thing to go. And the elephant ear, that won't droop right away, but I do save the tubers. I'll save all the corms from that container. We've got a candlestick ivy plectranthus here. Love the little like purple edges that it gets. Toucan coral canna did not do so great in this spot. I don't know what's up with it. I save the rhizomes from all my canna. I dig them up once the leaves die back and stick them in the basement in a cardboard box. A couple begonias in there that I got on clearance. This one got definitely too much shade here. This is the luscious Royale Red Zone lantana from Proven Winners. I grew this last year in a sunnier spot. It got enormous, but I love that kind of pink red mixed with the orange and yellow. This is a, what's that one called? Mahogany, no, redwood, sweet potato vine. Sort of a medium-sized coleus here. I mean, it gets big, but not as huge as some of the others. This is the El Brito coleus by Proven Winners. It gets more of a washed-out color. I mean, it's still very bright, but it's definitely more washed out in full sun versus being in shade. The colors stay, I think, a little bit deeper and richer. Behind that is the Canna Pretoria. That's big, tall, orange blooms. Hummingbirds love those blooms. The leaves, it's grown more for its stripy decorative foliage, and I save all these rhizomes. The leaves do get a little dried and tatty looking though by the end of the season. Probably my lack of watering. I had a planting here of this Diamond Frost Euphorbia, which actually just got huge all of a sudden. But I had two of the Saffron Finch Super Tunia from Proven Winners, and they were doing amazing. Sorry about that, camera issues. Anyways, all of a sudden they both just died one at a time. And so I bought some clearance yellow things and just plunked them in there with the Diamond Frost. I'm really liking this Fireball Marigold. I have some planted in back, like en masse, and they're really cool colors. Geranium's not blooming right now. That's a Mojo Orange. And then this, the Tangerine Punch Super Bells did great. I probably should have trimmed these, but I didn't, and they're still blooming. Probably my favorite plectranthus is this Cerveza and Lime. I also overwinter these every year. I usually go out and buy clearance, like 4-inch pots, repot them, just bump them up a little bit and keep them as house plants. And then I have fresh plants. They look kind of tatty by spring, but they do just fine. They flush out. Smells like limeade. I mean, just brushing it, like I can get the fragrance of it. Feels like velvet. Really beautiful, compact, full plant. Has these cool, like, vein texture on the back. Just love that. That's planted with the Mini-Me Watermelon Coleus, of which I'm a huge fan because it stays petite like this. I think they have a new one coming out next year, new color. And this is like the Waikiki Sunset or something, Lismachia. That one did well too. This is another of my favorite containers, actually. I should give it more space. Guacamole Plectranthus, really cool variegation with the purple underside and purple stems. With the basket, no, it's similar to the basket Tangelo, but this is the Mango Salsa Bandolista lantana with another Cerveza and Lime Plectranthus. That was a nice combination. Some things out of bloom. I overwinter lemon coral or lemon ball sedum on the porch too. Dies way back, so I cut it hard, but hey, it's a free plant for next year. And then this always just surprises me. This is a cherry cordial, surefire begonia. It's one plant, it just gets humongous. That's planted with the El Brito coleus. And then this is now flushing out. It lulled and had no blooms. It does have, you can see little white things on the leaves maybe. It does have thrips. At least I think they're thrips. I had an issue with that on some of the, probably because of the wet weather. Some of my Calibrachoa. But another over easy with a double yellow. This side, look at this size of this coleus. That is one single plant. Single plant. It is huge. And this is the first bloom I've seen all season. This is the Wicked Witch coleus from Proven Winners. This thing has just been amazing. And this is one that stays the same color whether it's in sun or shade, I find. Maybe the edges get a little bit wider, the chartreuse, in the sun, but man, that's done great. And that's in a large pot. Most of my pots with mixed containers are pretty big. Underplanted, that trailer is the Medusa sweet potato vine. And this is the black one. I can never remember what they're called because they're like 14 words long. Jet Black from Proven Winners. I'm not going to read that whole name. That's one of my favorites too as far as the purple. Probably Medusa is my favorite chartreuse. Jet Black is my favorite dark purple sweet potato vine. I haven't had to trim either of those once this summer. They just stay tidy and compact. That is why I will seek out the Proven Winners, and usually I can find them at Home Depot for $4 a piece, which is awesome. Or a local nursery has them also for $6 a piece. So not bad. Some of the Elfin Blue, peeking out Impatiens. And then this is the Hippo White polka dot plant, or Hippo Estes, along with another elephant ear. This one you can see what they do when they age. They start to turn brown. Massive size on these this year. This one in particular. And these bulbs are, I think, 2 or 3 years old now. So I dig these up. Frost kills the leaves off. Cut the leaves, dig them out of the pot, throw them in a, I get as much soil as I can off, but I'm not precious about it. Throw them in a cardboard box, stick them in the basement. Bring them out in the spring and pot them up. They take a while to emerge in the spring. They are slow to sprout, but so far I haven't had too many issues. You can see I've got a new leaf unfurling here in the back. This was underplanted also by beautiful blue Impatiens, but the kittens like to sit in that pot, and so they smushed them all. But that's okay. We've been kind of hidden anyways. And this beautiful guacamole plectranthus is just loving its life here. This thing just took over. I mean, this is one plant as well, and it's going all the way back here. I also have some Browalia in there. The Illumination, what is it? Proven Winners, something Illumination. I've got a couple more Rex begonias. And these are just, again, I'll see if I can pull this one out and show you. Man, it's full. If I can even find the pot. So it is in a pot, and I have it planted in a plastic container inside of this pot. So I will keep this as a house plant over the winter in a window, and when it dries out, I plunk this in a bowl of water and let it soak up, and then put it back in its catch pot. They've done pretty well. A lot of times they get smaller while they're inside in the winter, but then I bring them out here, and once they hit the sun, they fill out again. And this was my rescue plant from work that is blooming, this little Gerbera daisy. Fully recovered, I would say. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. If I'll keep it or not. Another Rex begonia that is blooming. Very cute. Persian shield over here growing in the shade this year. This is one plant, again, got huge. That is in a container with, you can see it a little bit, but it kind of got choked out slightly. Summer Wave large blue Torrenia trailing variety. That one's pretty vigorous. It doesn't sort of fizzle out mid-season like some of them do. And a silver licorice vine, and then this is taken over already. Man, this is easy to trim though. It does require trimming, but takes well to trimming. Some clearance hosta I have to plant this. I was hesitant to plant this Brennera to replace one that rotted out because it was so wet, and I didn't want this one to rot out too. So I think now I can plant it though. Snake root that I'll be planting once we get frost. This container combination is really cool. This was a Rex begonia that I overwintered in the same manner I showed the other ones. And then I just planted it with 2 Dichondra Silver Falls here on this pillar. Pretty color combination. This filled out really nicely this summer. So if you can find Rex begonias for a couple bucks a piece in the fall, you know, being sold as annuals at the end of the season, that is a great deal. And I did lose a few, but it was like $2 a piece, you know, instead of paying $8 for one in the spring. So anywho, that's my strategy. We've got some beautiful caladium here. Again, this area will be the first to die back, so that will be sad. A begonia down here planted with this caladium. Not sure if I'll be able to overwinter that or not. Some other, I have a spider plant here. This goes inside. Should probably repot this, or at least add soil to it this year. But yeah, this area turned out pretty darn nice. I was doubtful at first because caladiums also take a while to emerge. I buy them as corms. The bright pink impatiens are called lipstick. This is, in case you're wondering, this is the only corm I didn't get from, I got this from Menards. I don't recall the variety, but otherwise I've been ordering from Florida Boys caladiums the past couple years, and they are great quality and really good price. So this year I got Spicy Lizard, which I will repeat because that one was really cool. The new leaves are more white and green, and then they aged to pink. Gingerland is a favorite. I've been growing that every year for years now. Really like this one. This one's called Fiesta because it stayed white, unlike White Queen, which turns pink. We've got Hippo Estes, polka dot plant, Hippo Rose, and then another elephant ear. And hyacinth bean vine, just full of beans up at the top. I did string, that string was unnecessary, but I did string some line to help it stay up and not get blown over by the wind, and I'm glad I did. This one normally is much more full, but I think it was just cooler temperatures this year, and so it didn't get quite as big. We have Kong Red Coleus here. Let's see. And everything, these are all multiple pots, but you can see them early on. Like if you look at a video from June, maybe if I have a garden tour in June, you can see like individual pots. But the goal is that everything grows together, and so it looks like one big planting. And you can't even see the pots, so they don't have to match. I just try to buy neutrals. This one I really like. This is, what is this? I forget the name of this caladium, but I just did one. I really like this. I think it's Diamond Snow, Euphorbia, surrounded by caladium bulbs. So then I had the nice Euphorbia in the pot, and then when the caladium bulbs came up, they mingled really nicely. And these cool, all the plants sticking up, the tall pink ones. This is Gomphrena Carmine. Start that from seed. I also save seeds. You can see one of them is dropping its seeds here in the bird bath. Gomphrena is really easy to save seeds from and very simple to start from seed. I just, I moisten a paper towel, wring it out, put a bunch of seeds kind of in between 2 layers of paper towel, stick them in a plastic baggie for a week, and then I plant them. And they're ready to go. They already sprout sometimes, and just pop them in the soil. And you can save seeds. Like you can see this one is dropping its seeds here. So really easy to save your seeds from year to year. Super Bell's Lemonade finally looking a little bit better. This one didn't get enough sun and it suffered from all the rain. And then this is, I can save seeds from this already. You can see them forming. This is a, look at that little cup, like almost a cup of seeds in there. Portulaca Pizzazz Nano Pink. Did really well. I bought that on clearance. We've got a little sizzle caladium kind of hiding in there at this point. Gotten kind of covered up, and some extra gingerland. And then some begonias that I overwintered. I just did them as houseplants. They got pretty bare and dropped a lot of leaves. These I started from seed. Maverick Scarlet. This is a Calliope Mega Rose Mega Splash that I overwintered. I'll do it again with that one. But just a bunch of stuff in here. There's a bronze leaf rose begonia, along with stuff you can't see anymore. Oh, it looks like something broke back there. I'll have to pick that up. Or a plant broke off. Over here, another Maverick Scarlet geranium. Maverick Scarlet Picotee, that's what it's called, because it's mixed. And Brocade Fire geranium. This one I had overwintered and it got huge. I'm undecided whether I will overwinter it again. I would have to cut it way back if I do. But it's also just enormous. And this was a Dachondra Silver Falls that I bought on clearance. So pretty. Planted with a French lavender, which is finally blooming. And some kind of double super bells. I can't remember the name. And I just love this color. I'm overwintering this one too. This is the Americana Coral. I love that bright coral color. This planter, we have another Scarlet Picotee geranium started from seed, and Raspberry Superbena, and a Meizu down here. Nice big one. Love Meizu. But the star of the show is this Surefire Rose Begonia. This is a single plant, and these are just like loaded with blooms. This one did better than any of them, so clearly it likes the spot and liked this container quite a bit. But man, it has just been covered in blooms all summer nonstop, and it's huge. It looks absolutely glorious. And then ignore the poor, well, they're starting to reflush now, maybe. You see some buds. We got a little bit of a lull on the Calibrachoa surrounding this, but a toucan coral canna here. This planter's looking a little bit tired. I have whiteout Superbena mixed with violet ice Superbena mixed with Supertunia, Mini Vista, Violet Star. It's really the Supertunia that gets tired at the end of the season, despite being cut back. We have another Plum Dandy Alternanthera with a salvia, black and blue salvia. More flexible stems, so I didn't lose any to wind compared to the Proven Winners Rock and Blue Suede shoes, which a lot of those previous years would break off big chunks in a bad windstorm, but not nearly as prolific of blooms. But hummingbirds absolutely love this. They go crazy for it. This is probably their favorite, so I'll still try and plant blue salvia, especially this kind. I forget the different names of them, but this kind of has those longer, more trumpet-shaped blooms. Just squeeze past this chair here. We have an ornamental cabbage that I started from seed in the spring, planted with a bunch of also salvia. There's a velocity blue, and then the rest are just Victoria blue. This planter is looking pretty tired, except for the blue rush grass, blue mohawk grass. This poor, I just can't keep up with watering. This container's so thirsty. Persian shield kind of looking burned. But that's okay. And then this container got a little, I had a couple Supertunias in here. This one's just sprouting back now. I had to cut back all the way because they got thrips. So for a while I only had this beautiful amethyst, Superbena sparkling amethyst. And then I got a Supertunia Bordeaux on clearance, which is small, but just filling in that little hole. This planter did great. I don't know what does this to this stuff. Why it kind of almost burns off the, like that white dust on the leaves. I'll have to look into that because sometimes Dusty Miller does that too, but this, well, they're the same family. This is Senecio Angel Wings, planted with Whirlwind Blue Scavola, awesome plant. We need to get more of that next year. And another Dachondra Silver Falls. Hummingbird's other favorite here, Vermillionaire Kufia. Loves, loves, loves Kufia, all hummingbirds. I have it planted with a blood orange Nemesia. There's an Artemisia down there that I threw in late in the season. And a Coral Sun Super Bells, which kind of got shaded out a little bit. Super Bells, or the Calibrachoa, probably would be looking better if I had trimmed them hard. kind of early to mid-August. I just did a light trimming, so they're not looking the greatest now. We've got another toucan coral canna, beautiful coral colors and kind of blue-green leaves, which I like. Meizu under that. This is the Sherfina apricot begonia, supposed to like full sun. Did not do great in full sun for me, so probably better in an individual pot in the shade. We've got the Lanai peach verbena, which did fantastic, as well as the Bermuda Beach supertunia, also did amazing, and another cordyline kiwi. In this planter, we've got a lemon ball sedum. This poor little mango something calibrachoa did not do so great, but it's okay. You win some, you lose some. At least it was clearance when I bought it, or sale anyway. We have another Surefire Rose Begonia. This one like defoliated. It just has these long stems now. It probably just was too crowded in here. It was sort of an impulse to plant this many plants in one container. So I have Medusa, super sweet potato vine, the Surefire Rose Begonia. This is a Skyrocket Pennisetum grass. Also stayed way shorter than it did last year. And I have a Sparkling Rose Superbena. So 4 plants in this container, which is probably about 18-20 inches. See, this is when I'm like, you can't even see the containers anymore. Now that's probably a 20-inch container. Normally I would do 3 because these are vigorous plants, but sometimes you just can't resist some extras in the spring. This, however, did amazing. The Angelonia Angel Face Perfectly Pink. Love that plant. It also did amazing for me last year. Hummingbirds like that too. Planted with a Supertunia Royal Magenta and the Superbena Cherry Burst. All of the verbena are kind of lolling slightly right now. They do that. They'll still have blooms. They just won't be chock full of blooms all the time. But the lulls are less frequent than the chock full of blooms are, so I will continue planting those. This all kind of mixes. This is a Mandevilla Medenia Petite Pink. Did great here. This is my first time growing this. I expected it to vine more, but it really didn't, so I'll grow that again. I know those really just kind of boomed in popularity the last couple years, and I think they came out with a lot of new varieties. A lot of times these vine and are so vigorous, but they came out with some shorter that have more of like a bushy, shorter habit varieties. So I'll be looking for those again, because that was really low maintenance. I had to do virtually nothing to that plant. This Supertunia Mini Vista Hot Pink is looking kind of tired. I should have cut that back hard too, but just still full of blooms, along with a lemon ball sedum. Planted with this Canna Pretoria, I have one strawberry drop coleus just taking over the world. And then I got this later in the season. This is the cherry drop coleus, which is new. A little bit different habit, maybe easier to control than the strawberry drop coleus. But be warned, if you buy strawberry drop, give it space, because it'll spread like 4 feet. So save yourself some money and just get one. Okay, apologies, ran out of battery. Had to re-grab a new one. We've got a couple more of the Maverick Scarlet Picotee Geranium from seed, with another, this one kind of got choked out a little bit, Cordyline Kiwi. Oh, Cordyline, yeah, that's what I said. And then this still hasn't bloomed. I've been waiting for this little thing to bloom all summer. Obviously not getting a huge amount of sun under all these plants. Started from seed Gold Dust Alyssum. So we'll see. It's supposed to be gold yellow blooms on that. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'll get some, but Alyssum is super easy to start from seed. So I'll do it again next year. Maybe put it somewhere else where it gets a little more sunshine. And we'll pop over here, might as well. And I'll probably do an update on the front yard containers. So this, I think I'm going to do more Plectranthus over here, because it's hard to, I can't do anything real thirsty because it's not super close to the hose. But the cannas do really well over here. This is the Toucan Orange Canna. You can see some more bloom stalks coming up. It's kind of lulled out for a minute. We've got some, these are getting shaded out a little bit, but strawberry blonde marigolds. And then this container got really battered. I've been so impressed with this Calibrachoa. Really hope I can find it next year because I did not have to trim it once. It stayed just full and huge. It was when we got those 65-mile-an-hour winds that some chunks broke off from where this opening is that you can see here. So it kind of has a gap in it now. But super vigorous. That is one plant. It has just looked gorgeous from the minute, even in its starter pot, it was like big and glorious. There is a tag in here somewhere if I can find it without breaking things. Ombre Yellow, it's by Danziger. The Calibrachoa by Danziger all did very well for me. I tried a whole bunch of different varieties this year. So Ombre Yellow, Danziger. This container in this spot in particular, I grew Calibrachoa last year and also did very well. So I think this is kind of a sweet spot for it too. So that also, you can have the most amazing plant, but if you put it in the wrong spot, it is just not going to be happy or not going to perform as well as you want it to. So we're walking. Don't judge me. Ran out of battery on my string trimmer. So the edges are a little bit wonky up here, and the hose is still kind of flung places. But these two containers did great here. These are bronze leaf wax begonias. Just multi-pack, your basic begonias, you know, pumpkin spice, basic, whatever. And I just separated out whites and pinks. And then this is a different Lismachia, not the Waikiki Sunset, but similar. I forget what it's called now. I just got that at a local garden center. It's not proven winners. But that'll bloom off and on with these pretty yellow blooms. So these did great up here, and these get mostly shade, some afternoon sun. About like the hottest sun of the day, but very low maintenance. Begonias are not at all thirsty plants, so if you want something low maintenance and you have shade or dry shade, go with begonias. This, we'll call it a planter. It's almost like a raised bed. Here I've just got Creeping Jenny. That's perennial, dies back and flushes every year, along with bronze leaf pink begonias. No, bronze leaf rose is what this was called. Did great. This was sort of a test to see if they could handle full sun conditions, and yes, they can. This gets sort of half sun, half shade, so it's been hard to plant. Because full sun plants, it's like half of them are puny. Full shade plants just burn on the full sun side, so I'll do different color begonia next year. Also juxtaposed with the Surefire Rose begonias. Man, these are just chock full of blooms too. These really filled out recently. But really can't tell a huge difference between the Surefire Rose and the bronze leaf rose as far as I'm concerned. They're pretty darn comparable, if not, sometimes they are the same plant. So they're doing good. And then the only container I have left up here is this one. Looks all right from this side. These are 3 Super Tunia Mini Vista plants. Super Tunia Mini Vista Midnight, Super Tunia Mini Vista White, and Super Tunia Mini Vista Violet Star. Looking great. I did trim these hard several times. That is a thing with petunias, especially in full sun. Well, really anywhere you plant them is you have to trim them hard. You're going to be cutting off a lot of blooms, and it'll take a couple weeks to flush out, but it will last so much longer if you do. This one I did not keep up with the trimming, and you can see I think it also got pretty battered when we got those big winds were blowing right in this direction. So I could cut some of this out, but you know, it's middle of September, so maybe I'll just cut out the dead and leave it dead stuff. Or I could just, maybe I'll just spin. We'll just spin it. We'll just rotate. Right? Nobody will know. They're not going to know. Nobody will ever know. So that's what happens when petunias get leggy. But I mean, the fact that I planted these at the end of May and here we are mid-September and they still look like this, those are pretty amazing plants. So that's it for containers. I do have some annuals up here. We've got this beautiful Nemesia. Oh. Wait till the vehicle passes by. Nesia Inca, Nemesia. Those did great. And then this is you can kind of see Albrighto coleus again. So the one on this side is in more of a full sun situation, and you can see a little bit more light pink color, a little bit washed out, versus the one more on this side, which is in more shade and a little bit richer, deeper pink colors and less chartreuse edges. So you can kind of see right next to each other the difference between like full sun and part shade for the Albrighto coleus, the different colors. So that's interesting. I think I prefer the shade version a little bit better. And then there are just some 4 o'clocks next to it. So yeah, that is the vast majority of my containers. I showed some of I have containers in the vegetable garden too, but I already kind of showed those on my last tour, part 1, which is the backyard garden. So I won't revisit those. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, especially if you stick around to the end of the video. I know it gets long, but anyway, hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. Please subscribe.